Welcome back to another video. I'm Jordan. I'm a certified family nurse practitioner and health coach. If you're new here, welcome. I have been wearing a continuous glucose monitor now for 1 week. Let me show you. Here it is. Right on the back of my arm, this is the CGM. I am so excited to be working with NutriSense today. That is the program that I received the CGM through, and I get to wear it for 2 weeks. So I am halfway in at this point. It came with a really cute NutriSense sticker that goes over top of it after you apply it, which by the way, doesn't hurt at all. I applied it, you put this cute sticker over it. I got a little aggressive exfoliating the other day and completely forgot I had the sticker on, and so it's totally my fault. It kind of fell off. Should be fine as long as I'm gentle with it. Metabolic health and keeping stabilized blood sugar or blood glucose throughout the day is really important to me. I have PCOS, and something that can be a really great natural, supportive, helpful intervention for individuals with PCOS is to do their best to keep blood sugar stable throughout the day. This can really help just support balanced hormones in general. What the continuous glucose monitor does is just what it sounds like. It continually measures your glucose level in your blood. CGM is paired with the NutriSense app on your phone, so it sends data from here to your phone so that you can view your blood glucose at any time, and you get 2 weeks worth of data. What I really love about NutriSense that makes it a little bit different than other CGM providers, not only get the CGM with the 2 weeks of data and the app and all the resources, but you also get paired with a dietitian. They're going to provide feedback based on your goals that you set at the beginning. I've been working with my dietitian. She's made some suggestions. I really wanted to start sharing it with you guys so that you could kind of see like how these changes and how these dietary things that I'm doing are really impacting the actual data. Let me just quickly walk you through the app and show you how it works. So you're gonna tap on the NutriSense app, and here is my data today. You can see overall my total score is 10, and you can see my curve throughout the day. The red dots are gonna be meals, and the blue dot is for activity or exercise, and it actually pairs with my Apple Watch. So anytime I log exercise on my Apple Watch, it syncs right over for me. I click on the plus button, and you can scan, add a meal, add activity. I'm gonna just scan and show you how this works. So we're ready to scan. I just hold it right up to the CGM. You hear it just took a reading, and it's gonna show me what my current reading is now, which is about 81. My diet overall right now is just lots of whole, real foods, anti-inflammatory or Mediterranean diet based meals. I also eat gluten-free. Don't by any means eat low carb, so was very interested to see how the amount of carbohydrates and the type of carbohydrates I'm eating did impact my blood glucose. We look here, I had my first big spike with my dinner last week, which was beef stew with potatoes, carrots, onion, celery, beef broth, and seasoning. This meal score was a 2, which is pretty low, meaning that my peak was 153, so that's a little bit of a high spike. They really like to see spikes not go higher than about 140. After seeing this spike after having the beef stew, I assumed that it was probably the amount of potatoes in the stew because it was really potato heavy. My dietitian recommended that I do the next time I want to try out potatoes is to try them in a dish where they're cooked and then they're cool. That creates resistant starch in the potato, meaning that it increases kind of the different type of fiber in the potato and slows the absorption of them, so you don't get quite a quick spike. Anytime you're going to increase the fiber or the fat or the protein in the meal, that slows down the absorption of the glucose so that you don't get such a dramatic spike. Thought I would try that out tonight. I made a potato salad that I'm going to take to a family dinner. I cooked the potatoes and then put the salad together, and now they're cooling in the refrigerator. I'll leave a link for my favorite potato salad recipe that I use down below in the description. Why is this so hard to say? Southern smashed potato salad recipe. It's one that I always take to potlucks and dinners, and everyone loves it. So I'll leave that down in the description below. We will see if I end up with a spike tonight. We'll test this out, we'll check back in, I'll let you know how it goes, and then I'm gonna take you on through a couple days with me of what I'm eating, and I'll talk to you more about maybe some other insights and changes that I'm going to make to my diet after getting to do this experiment with the continuous glucose monitor. Say good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hi, hi, hi. Lemon water this morning, and then I had some decaf coffee. Ended up being kind of like half cap because I added some caffeinated coffee bit in there too with about a tablespoon of heavy cream. I've been loving that lately. No glucose spike with that because I don't put any sweetener, but I find that heavy cream is just like naturally sweet and just a little bit. So good. I'm on day 2 of my cycle today, so normally I do 20 minutes of strength training every morning after coffee, but I'm really low energy today. I'm gonna do like a 20-minute yoga with Adriene video. I'm gonna do a nice stretch, just to kind of get my muscles moving, do some breathing, and then we'll have some breakfast and we'll go over how my potato experiment went last night. And yeah, let's do some yoga. Ready to make my breakfast. Monday mornings I like to do just something really like green and healthy just to start my week off right, and I'm usually most motivated on Mondays to have something like that. I'm going to make a green smoothie. One of the things that I've been loving with wearing the CGM and testing like my smoothies and different meals is that I can actually have a lot more fruit in my smoothies than I thought I could. Starting with some unsweetened almond milk. This is Elmhurst milked almonds. Over here, I think the lighting will be better. I've been testing with a little bit more banana, a little bit more berries in the smoothie, and my meal scores have still been like 9 or 10. The more fruit you can throw in there, I think the better texture you get and the better it tastes. I'm going to be adding half of a frozen banana. I'm gonna go in. If there are a lot of foods that you feel like you quote unquote can't have, or you feel really restricted in your diet, if you've been told to follow a low carb diet or you've been following one, I think having something that actually shows your own personal reactions to foods. All right, Jackson's getting a drink. You can actually have more things than you thought, and I personally have felt like really empowered to be less restrictive since wearing the CGM and seeing my data. I have been adding some frozen zucchini to my smoothies. Doesn't really taste like anything, but just adds some more phytonutrients and gives it a good texture. Some frozen spinach. Oh, I hate when there's just a big chunk in there. I'm gonna try to break it up. There we go. Add some fiber. One of the reasons why you can add more fruit to this smoothie is because I'm also loading it with protein, fat, and fiber. If you were to make a smoothie that was all fruit, no protein, no nuts and seeds, it could potentially spike glucose a lot more. Chia seeds, great source of fiber. And then I am testing a new protein powder today. I've never had this before. I'm the Mucuna Chocho Bean vanilla protein powder. That was a mouthful. It's a plant-based protein made from chocho beans, but it has a really good amino acid profile. It's really high in fiber. 1/3 of a cup or 43 grams gets you 20 grams of protein. I like to make sure I get at least 20 grams of protein in every meal. I don't measure a lot of things, but I do have a food scale for this purpose. So we need 43 grams. 44. And, oh yes, okay. For my fat, I've been adding extra virgin olive oil to my smoothies. It tastes so good. I don't know what it is. I really love it. I know it sounds weird, but I do about like a tablespoon and a half or so. I don't eat a lot of extra virgin olive oil. Like I have to really consciously get myself to eat it throughout my other meals. So I thought like, oh, well, I could just add it to my smoothies. Then I'm getting more extra virgin olive oil for the day. A dash or 2 or 3 or 4 of cinnamon. Last thing I've been adding to smoothies is a pinch of sea salt. It really brings out the flavor, especially if you do chocolate. I don't really love electrolyte drinks, but I do like adding just like pinches of salt to water or to my smoothies to help with hydration. I'm gonna blend this up and then I'll add it to my NutriSense app and we'll check back in later and see how we did. Oh yeah, that is good. It's breakfast, it's 8:17 in the morning, and then we can take a picture. Done. And now it shows up here. While we're here in the app, let me show you about how my potato experiment went yesterday. Definitely had a hefty portion of potato salad. I didn't want to just have like a little bit and have the data be kind of off because I didn't have the same portion of potatoes. I definitely loaded it on. Who wants just a little bit of potato salad anyway? You can see that this time my score was an 8 and I didn't have as much of a spike. So it spiked to like 94 and then came back down. I think the cooked and cooled potatoes may have been a really great hack and maybe something I can try to incorporate again next time I have a meal with a lot of potatoes. Will I still make that beef stew again? Yes, probably. I'll probably just maybe like cut the potatoes in half as far as the amount and maybe like swap in like some cauliflower florets or more like of other veggies or something like that. But again, it's just really empowering to know like what you can have and different ways you can still enjoy the foods that you love just in a way that's going to be more balanced for your health and balanced for your mood throughout the day. A successful experiment. Now about lunchtime, my lunch is just finishing cooking, so I thought we could check in. It's perfect timing because I actually was just messaging with my dietitian with NutriSense. She was talking to me about the dinner that I had last Friday. So I had gluten-free pizza and I tried to use one of her hacks that she recommended. I had a salad with apple cider vinegar as part of the dressing prior to the pizza. So she had mentioned anytime you have something that could really cause a glucose spike, actually having anything with apple cider vinegar, about like 1 to 2 tablespoons prior to the meal, that can really help blunt that glucose spike. So that was my attempt at that. And even though I did that, I still spiked to about 150. Remember, we're looking at 140 or less. So if we look here, here was last Friday, and you can see here that spike to 150. That was due to my dinner. I've noted the salad with the apple cider vinaigrette, then I also had the gluten-free pizza. It probably didn't help that I had that ginger lime soda, which was sweetened right before it. I could have, just had some sparkling water or something unsweetened. But the other thing Casey mentioned is that most gluten-free pizzas, while, gluten-free, maybe a bit of a healthier choice for many people. Pizza in general just tends to be really low in protein. She said you likely were pretty low in protein, which enabled the spike to go even higher. She said adding something like a protein source before the pizza or with the pizza could have really been helpful. It also would have helped me feel more full. You can check in and see how we did at breakfast. So I'm ready to scan. Awesome, so it looks like my breakfast was a 10. That means that my glucose was just really steady. So if we zoom in, you can actually see the curve for that meal, and it gives you a score based on the peak exposure, stability, and recovery. The dietitian explains peak exposure, stability, and recovery because even me as a healthcare practitioner, I was like, what does that mean? Really nice to have that interpretation. Just really appreciate the support that NutriSense has provided here. Now, let me show you my lunch. 2 eggs along with some mushrooms, some spinach. I also added a shallot in there, cooked that in a little bit of avocado oil. And then over here, I have this buckwheat sourdough that I'm testing out from the brand Pacha. And I ordered it and it's actually really, really good. On top of my avocado toast, I'm just gonna add some smoked salmon for some little extra protein. I'm just absolutely obsessed with smoked salmon. It's so delicious. Squeeze of lemon. What do we think? Is this gonna be a good one? We'll give it a try. It's later in the afternoon now. I'm actually just getting started on dinner, so I thought we would check in on how lunch went. Lunch was a 9, so that worked out. So I'm really excited because I love that buckwheat sourdough. I am going to be testing out some kombucha. This is a ginger kombucha. Ginger is my favorite flavor, and this brand is, it's GT's. I always try to get one that's lower in sugar, but kombucha does have added sugar in it, and there's some debate about whether the fermentation process, the sugar actually goes away. I don't know, but it tastes sweet. There's likely sugar in it, whether that be natural or added. I usually do not drink a whole one in one sitting. Usually I have like half of this, but I just kind of like something to sip on sometimes while I'm making dinner. We'll test it out and see what score it gives. So I'm gonna try out something a little bit different tonight to see if I can, keep a nice stable blood sugar curve like we've been talking about. Eat the vegetables and the protein in the meal first and then finish with the carbohydrate. Eating in that order can really help, even if you are gonna ingest a form of carbohydrate in a meal. If you have it last and have the veggies and the protein and the fat source first, if it makes sense in the meal to do that, like when you've got multiple components, you can try that and it can help with the blood sugar curve and not having as much of a spike. I'll check in with you guys tomorrow for the final take on the day and we'll go from there. It's been a few days since I last showed you my last meal where I was testing out kombucha. We would go over that data together and take a look and see how it impacted my glucose. And we see I had half a bottle of that GT's kombucha. It was a 6, so not that bad. So if we click on it, my peak wasn't that bad. It didn't cross over that 140 threshold. It was actually right at it. The stability, meaning that I went from really low to really high pretty quickly. I want to share my key takeaways as I'm coming to the end of the 2 weeks wearing my CGM. Key change number 1 is to include enough protein in my dinners. I do really well for breakfast and lunch. I'm really good about making sure I get 20 plus grams of protein there. Where I can really focus on now is with my dinner. I do tend to enjoy more starch and more carbs at my dinner. I think it helps me sleep better. I think it's fine for me because I'm very active. I exercise every day. I walk a lot. I can still include those same foods, but I think what I can do better is to not have sugar sweetened beverages before dinner as much as possible, unless it's like a treat every once in a while. I'm just gonna keep it to some really yummy, like unsweetened flavored sparkling water. I love the fact that that hack to cook and cool potatoes actually really worked. Anytime it makes sense, I'm gonna really go for recipes that I can cook potatoes and things like rice ahead of time. Great for meal prep, right? I can make a big batch of rice or a big batch of potatoes or sweet potatoes as a meal prep on the weekend, store them in the fridge to cool, and then either reheat them, or if the dish, it makes sense to have it room temperature or cold, eat it that way. Get less of a spike, but can still enjoy those foods in really yummy ways. I'm definitely going to do that. If you're wondering if a continuous glucose monitor is right for you, I would say it's right for everybody. Top chronic diseases that we have, especially here in the United States and in many countries, are all related to metabolic health in some way. So to really prevent those things, it's so important that we be in mind of our metabolic health. In particular, if you struggle with any of the following ailments, things like insomnia, low energy levels or fatigue, anxiety, you've been told you're pre-diabetic, PCOS, like what I have, any other hormonal issues, any of these things, I think, wow, what a great investment to make to get some really good insight into how your blood sugar may be impacting these things and getting some personalized one-on-one support from a practitioner like a registered dietitian. That's just really great data that I cannot believe we now have at our fingertips. Link to the NutriSense CGM system is right down below in the description box. Make sure you check out their site because they have a wealth of just free information on their site. So if you're just interested in learning more about blood sugar, understanding the technology more and kind of what this all looks like, definitely peruse their site. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this video, if you've worn a CGM and what insights you gained from it. I think we could all help each other down in the comments, so I would love to know. This video, thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel for a lot more free videos to come. Click the notifications if you want to know when I upload a new video, and I will see you all soon for another one. Bye.